Hello and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is episode 50, everybody. Anybody? Uh, I can hardly believe it. And what's funny is, as I'm recording this, only one actual episode of this podcast has aired or been published. The preview and episode 0 also were published, but the only movie review that has been republished so far as of this day, which is October 26th, 2024, is for The Racket, which was the very first movie I watched in this series. So you're way behind. Catch up. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, I watched another one, guys. And this one was called The Informer. And this is still the 1935 Oscars, the 8th ceremony. This one I had to rent on Amazon Prime, and it was $4.23. A little bit about it, shall we? The Informer is a 1935 American drama thriller film. Directed and produced by John Ford, adapted by Dudley Nichols from the 1925 novel of the same title by Irish novelist Liam O'Flaherty. That's the most Irish name ever. Set in 1922, the plot concerns the underside of the Irish War of Independence and centers on a disgraced Republican man, played by Victor McLaglen, who anonymously informs on his former comrades and spirals into guilt as his treachery becomes known. Heather Angel, Preston Foster, Margot Graham, Wallace Ford, Una O'Connor, and J.M. Kerrigan co-star. The novel had previously been adapted for a British film of the same name in 1929. Along with Mutiny on the Bounty, The Informer was a big contender at the 8th Academy Awards, competing directly in all 6 categories they were nominated for, although Mutiny got 8 nominations in total, given its 3 Best Actor nominations. The Informer won 4 Oscars. Oh my God. Best Director for Ford, Best Actor for McLaglen, Best Writing Screenplay for Nichols, and Best Score for Max Steiner. In 2018, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. As I said, directed and produced by John Ford, cinematography by Joseph H. August, edited by George Hively, which sounds like a familiar name, I'm not sure. Music by Max Steiner, production company was RKO Radio Pictures, also distributed by. Release date May 9th, 1935, with a runtime of 91 minutes. Political context and censorship. The film did not mention the IRA by name, and like Carol Reed's Odd Man Out in 1947, only casually touched on the underlying conflict. Writing in the NRA and Film and Television, A History, author Mark Connolly observes that both films share a common jaundiced view of Irish nationalism and its adherents. The IRA was portrayed as little more than a criminal gang whose principal activities were robbery, murder, and vigilante reprisals. Chip O'Nolan was largely unmotivated by ideology, instead wishing to rejoin the organization to regain security status and a sense of belonging. Instead, the films used the backdrop of the Troubles for morality tales designed to appeal to the broadest possible audience. Politics and the cause of Irish nationalism was avoided to circumvent controversy and pass the censors in both the US and Great Britain. With an eye toward distribution of the film in Britain, Joseph Breen of the Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America submitted the script of The Informer to the British Board of Film Censors, which requested numerous changes to omit references to the Anglo-Irish conflict. Odd Man Out and The Informer are also similar in being dramatic portrayals of lapsed Catholics rediscovering their lost faith, and end with their dying protagonists assuming Christ-like poses. Spoilers. So I did not like this movie at all. Sorry to John Ford and to his Best Director win. I will say, directing wise, it was kind of cool. They did some stuff, that now is pretty commonplace, but just like superimposing things over, like in the beginning, the character Chip O'Nolan pulls down a wanted poster of his friend, who he later informs on, and that sort of propels the story. But he pulls the poster down, and then when he goes back there later, he sees it like superimposed there again, but like the guy's face has changed, and he's sort of got an angry look after he's informed on him. And they did that a few different times in different areas where you saw some what now would be considered compositing or like layering of, images over atop one another. And there was a bunch of stuff where he was either remembering the past or like picturing the future of him and this woman that he loved getting married and stuff. So they would kind of superimpose those things over, layer the film over other scenes. So the directing was really fine. It really was. And this dude won a Best Actor. My God, he was terrible. So first of all, it's in Ireland. There were a few people that might have been Irish. And his name is Victor McLaglen. He might have been British and so on. His accent was very bad. Some of the people were doing like the Kevin Costner where they just gave up and maybe every seventh word was sort of Irish sounding accent, but I can't remember I guess it was Preston Foster played Dan Gallagher. He was like the head of the IRA in a business suit and a fedora. He did not even try at all. So, and that, you can look past that a little bit, but it's still kind of silly. But I did not like the acting in this at all. There were a few people that were pretty decent, but your main character, to me, it was so ham-fisted and over the top. And he was drunk for half the movie, so he was just shouting and screaming. And it was kind of like Wallace Beery. And I like Wallace Beery and other movies that I've watched in this series. But in Viva Villa, I never know which way to say that. Probably Viva Villa. Anyway, in that he played the Mexican, this very white dude playing the Mexican, resistance leader. And just a terrible accent and over the top acting. And Best Actor. Ugh. To be fair, there really wasn't anything wrong with the story. So best screenplay, fine. Best score, fine. Best director the directing was okay. I just really disliked the lead actor. And I think that's what just made me not like the movie. And, thinking back on it, because I usually try to record these the same day that I watch the movie and I forgot to. So it's been a few days, but thinking back on it, the movie itself was not that bad. I really just didn't like Victor McLaglen. So I hope that I don't run across him again, or that if I do, he is better. So that's all I got for this one. Not much more to say. Movie was fine for what it was. Just didn't care for him. So I'll see you next time.